My daughter Heather Bowman was in a near drowning accident when she was 22 months old. Though the odds were heavily stacked against her, she miraculously survived. She was a very sweet and happy child, but she still has very significant disabilities. She had many years of therapy: speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. She was a very compliant child, was very easy to work with. But when puberty hit, things started to change. And she started to become very irritable, and she started becoming fussy about what words were said to her or how things were being done. It didn't help that the junior high that she attended was not very accommodating to her. Her teacher had never had someone with as significant of disabilities as Heather, and she was not very accommodating or welcoming to Heather, so we had a real struggle with that, and Heather grew more and more agitated. We thought that changing her to a different junior high would help her, and it did somewhat. She had a very good teacher, but we were still noticing that she had a lot of problems and a lot of issues, and was still getting very agitated and upset and irritable at school. When Heather started attending high school, I went to a family-to-family network meeting. At that time it was called the Family Council. And they had some people talking about dual diagnosis, meaning that someone with an intellectual disability and perhaps physical disability could also have a mental health issue. And that's where I first thought, oh my, I wonder if Heather could have dual diagnosis, because it seemed like she was having so many problems with OCD and anxiety, and she even seemed kind of upset and depressed at times. So I went to her primary care physician and said, what do you think about dual diagnosis? And actually this physician was very experienced with people with disabilities. And she said, well, why don't we try some medications and see if that helps her? So we started trying some different medications. We had to go through several. It took some tweaking before we finally found one that worked. But thankfully, we found one that really seemed to help her. So after we found the right medications, Heather seemed to be less prone to her outbursts. She was less violent. She was happier, and she seemed more content. Then we started noticing issues around her cycles. And so we thought maybe we should try doing some kind of birth control that would maybe help with keeping her more balanced. And we found one that worked pretty well, but you were only supposed to use it for a limited time. Most recently, we have taken Heather to a naturopath, and the naturopath has found some hormones that have actually helped Heather, and she is now very, very happy and content and very easy to get along with, very little anxiety, and she seems to be a lot happier, not depressed, and we feel like she's in a very good place now.